My sister texted, "You're not invited to the wedding, it's a classy event." Mom reacted with a laughing emoji. "There's no place for failures." I just replied, "Understood. I'll cancel the classy payments too." They mocked. Three dots appeared, stopped, appeared again. Silence finally arrived dressed as confidence. "Hi, everyone. My name is Harper Lane. I'm 28. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. Because I was raised to be the quiet sponsor, the girl with a reliable card and a short memory." The phone felt heavier than the mug in my other hand. My kitchen light hummed, a cheap halo over three things I could still control: coffee, oxygen, and math. I opened my banking app. There it was, the breadcrumb trail of class. Venue retainer, my card. Florist deposit, my card. Custom linens, tent lighting, vendor meals, even Mom's second phone line for coordination. I kept receipts the way other people kept souvenirs. A new text from my sister, "Don't be petty. It's just seating capacity." Capacity, right. For years, they'd measured love by how much I could carry. I set the phone down and opened my laptop. Folder, wedding contracts. Venue terms blinked back at me in 11-point Times New Roman, unromantic and perfect. Primary payer retains scheduling control. Auto charge of final balance, 10 a.m. Friday. Authorized user may revoke at any time. My cursor hovered over revoke authorization. The house stilled, refrigerator, street, breath, as if the walls were leaning in to watch. Mom pinged the thread with a confetti gif. My brother chimed in, "Don't make this weird, Harp. It's just not your audience." I looked at the word audience and felt my mouth tilt. They were right. I wasn't their audience. I was the investor. A calendar reminder popped up on my screen. Venue walkthrough in 24 hours, host required. Host. That would be me. I clicked open the payment panel. The button glowed, revoke. And then a new message slid across the top of my screen from an unfamiliar number. "Hi Harper, this is the venue manager. Quick question about who actually controls the date." The message sat on my screen like an unopened gift. "Hi Harper, this is the venue manager. Quick question about who actually controls the date." I stared at it for a full minute, steam curling from my coffee. Then I typed back, "That would be me. I'm the payer on file." 3 seconds later, her reply came, "Understood. We just needed confirmation. We've been contacted by your sister about upgrades, but those require your approval." I smiled, small and sharp. "Of course." I typed, "Hold all upgrades until further notice." And just like that, their glitter fountain froze mid-sparkle. By noon, Mom called, cheerful in tone, brittle underneath. "Sweetheart, the planner mentioned a little confusion." "No confusion," I said, "just clarification." "Well, it's your sister's big day. Don't make her stress." "I'm not. I'm making her accountable." The silence after that sentence was its own applause. I spent the afternoon reviewing more contracts. The floral company, the caterer, the photographer, all under my billing address. Each one ended with the same sentence: "Authorization may be revoked by account holder at any time." I wasn't sabotaging anything. I was simply logging out. By 5 p.m., my phone pinged again. "Harper, Mom's freaking out. The caterer says payments paused." "Correct." I typed back. "The event is paused until I'm treated like family, not a wallet." 10 minutes later, Mom sent one final text: "Stop being dramatic." I closed my phone, leaned back, and whispered to the empty kitchen, "Dramatic is buying a $22,000 chandelier for a one-night dinner." Outside, rain began to tap the windows. The house felt quiet, not lonely, but ready. Tomorrow, I'd answer the venue manager's next question. "Do you intend to keep the date?" Yes, I thought, but not for them. The next morning, the city woke gray and polished, the kind of quiet that hums before something breaks. My phone blinked, a new email from the venue manager. "Ms. Lane, confirming your authority to either release or reassign the date. We have several inquiries pending for that weekend." I reread the words release or reassign, letting them settle like sugar in coffee. For years, I checked so my family could have choices. Maybe it was time I had one. I opened my messages to find the group chat exploding. "Mom, fix this, Harper. The venue says it's frozen." Sister, you're embarrassing yourself. Brother, think long term. Family first. Family first. The phrase that always meant you last. I drafted a short email back to the manager, please reassign the date to another client. Release authorization effective immediately. Also, send all refunds to the original payer. The cursor blinked, tiny, steady, like a heartbeat finally its own. I clicked send. At 11:23 a.m., my phone rang. Mom, tell me you didn't just. I did, I said. The date's open now. You ruined your sister's dream. No, I said softly. You just found out who is financing it. For a moment, nothing but static. Then, you'll regret this, Harper. I already did, I whispered and hung up. I spent the rest of the day cleaning my apartment, deleting the old texts, sorting receipts, reclaiming silence one drawer at a time. At sunset, the venue posted on Instagram. New event added for the 14th, charity gala for women entrepreneurs. The photo showed the ballroom, the same one I'd booked, now glowing in gold light for a cause I actually believed in. I didn't ruin a wedding. I repurposed it. Tomorrow, they'd learn what classy really meant. By Thursday morning, the storm hit. My sister's call came first, high-pitched, rehearsed fury. You had no right to give away my venue. I didn't, I said calmly. I gave away my reservation. You were borrowing it. You're jealous, she spat. Of what? Love? Attention? Of debt, I said. Definitely debt. She gasped like I'd slapped her through the phone. Then came Mom's voice in the background, muffled but sharp. Tell her she's cut off. I almost laughed. For what? My own money? By noon, the fallout went public. The venue posted behind-the-scenes photos of the upcoming gala. A few guests noticed in the comments that it was the same date as the Lane wedding. Screenshots traveled faster than apologies. Mom texted again. People are calling. You've humiliated us. Then stop giving them material. I replied. The truth is, humiliation wasn't new. It was just finally mutual. I took the afternoon off work and drove to the waterfront. The bay wind smelled like salt and second chances. Madison called while I watched the gulls dip into the gray water. They're saying you canceled the wedding out of spite. Then they're half right, I said. Spite is just a form of overdue honesty. Any guilt? None. I bought silence for years. I'm just collecting change. That night, I checked the charity gala site. Tickets sold out. My refund cleared. I donated half anonymously. The next morning, Mom sent one last text, your grandfather heard about this. He's furious. I smiled at the screen. Grandpa funded the family's first house. I funded their illusion. Maybe we were finally even. Tomorrow was supposed to be rehearsal dinner. I had other plans. Friday evening arrived like a dress rehearsal for regret. From my balcony, I could see the lights of the country club glittering across the hill, desperate little stars clinging to a sky that had already moved on. My phone rang again. Grandpa. He never called without reason. Harper, he said, his voice slow and sandpapered with age. Your mother's crying. Says you ruined everything. I waited for the scolding, the sigh. But then he added, about time someone did. That broke the stillness. She used you, kiddo, he said. You've been paying for their class since college. I told her entitlement always sends an invoice. I smiled. It finally got delivered. He chuckled softly. Good. Let her sign for it. After we hung up, I poured a glass of wine and scrolled through social media. My sister's posts were frantic, cropped photos, cryptic captions. Some things money can't buy. Comments flooded in. Didn't you lose your venue? What happened? She deleted the thread within an hour. The quiet that followed wasn't satisfaction. It was symmetry. Around 10 o'clock, a message from an unknown number appeared. You think this makes you better? You made a fool of us. I didn't need to ask who it was. I typed back, no. I just stopped financing a version of me. Then I blocked the number and stepped outside. The wind carried laughter from the club, thin, hollow. I wondered if they'd still call it a celebration when half the vendors didn't show. Inside, the refund email blinked one last time, a final payment reversed. Tomorrow was the wedding day. For them, it would be chaos. For me, it would be freedom, quiet, deliberate, and long overdue. Saturday, their wedding day, dawned bright and brittle. Sunlight so sharp it made the city look overexposed. I wasn't invited, but my notifications told the story for me. Posts, tags, panicked edits, ceremony delayed. Vendors missing, bride in tears. I brewed my coffee slowly. Every pour was deliberate. For once, I wasn't racing to fix a crisis someone else created. Madison called mid-morning. "It's chaos," she said, barely containing her grin. The caterer left. The photographer walked. Your sister screaming at volunteers. I sat on the couch, watching sunlight crawl across the rug. That sounds expensive. You're trending again, Madison added. They're calling you the classy sister, I laughed. That's irony paying rent. By noon, my sister's fiancé called from an unknown number. Harper, be reasonable. She's devastated. About what? The vendors, the guests, but the consequences, I said quietly. You can't punish her on her wedding day. I didn't, I replied. I just stopped protecting her from herself. After the call, I drove past the venue, not to gloat, just to see the aftermath. Balloons sagged in the heat. Guests stood outside checking their phones. Through the glass, I saw my sister clutching her bouquet like a lifeline, Mom whispering behind her hand, faces tight with disbelief. And then, through the blur of sunlight, Grandpa appeared beside them. He wasn't scolding. He was walking out, alone. I parked, stepped out quietly, and nodded as he passed. You were right, he said under his breath. Class isn't about chandeliers. No, I said softly. It's about consequences. That evening, I donated the last of the refund to a women's shelter in my sister's name, anonymous, of course. The wedding ended before sunset. The marriage, well, that wasn't my problem. Tomorrow, I'd send one final message. Sunday morning came wrapped in the kind of silence money can't buy. No phone calls, no alarms, no family chaos humming through my walls, just coffee, sunlight, and a house that finally felt like mine again. The first notification arrived around 10 o'clock, a tagged post. My sister had uploaded a single black and white photo, her bouquet tossed aside on the floor, captioned, "Every lesson has a cost." It had barely 50 likes. For her, that was extinction. I scrolled through the comments, some sympathetic, most curious, a few cutting. One read, "She shouldn't have used her sister." Another, "Classy people pay their bills." I didn't click like. I didn't need to. At noon, Mom called again, her voice paper thin. You proved your point. Are you happy now? No, I said gently. Just balance, she sighed. We're family, Harper. Exactly why I kept records, I said and hung up. That afternoon, Grandpa stopped by unannounced, carrying a small envelope. Inside was a check made out to me for the exact amount of the wedding's original budget. I took it from their inheritance, he said. Figured it might as well go to the only person who knows what integrity costs. I don't need it, I told him. I know, he said. That's why it's yours. After he left, I placed a check in the same folder that once held all their contracts. Then I poured another cup of coffee, opened my laptop, and wrote my final message to the group chat. Debt settled. Boundaries intact. I wish you both a lifetime of lessons learned. I hit send, then left the chat forever. Outside, gulls circled the bay. For the first time in years, their sound didn't grate. It harmonized. Tomorrow, I'd end this story the same way it began, with a message they couldn't ignore. Monday morning felt like a clean page. No alarms, no group chats, no emergencies that carried my name on the invoice, just the smell of rain through an open window, and the soft reminder that peace doesn't need witnesses. I brewed my coffee and composed one last message, not to them, but to myself. A simple note saved in my drafts. Remember this silence. You earned it. Then I opened my email. The charity gala I'd reassigned the venue to had sent a thank you letter. Your decision helped us raise over $180,000 for women starting over after financial betrayal. I read the line twice, smiled, and finally understood. Revenge had morphed into restitution. My phone buzzed once. A text from my sister. We're moving. Needed a fresh start. I'm sorry for all of it. 3 dots blinked, then nothing. No excuses, No manipulation, just space. I typed back, start fresh. Pay forward. Then archive the thread forever. Outside, the city shimmered.